Hello, hi, hello, I'm Jon Binnie, and I'm a psychic spiritual mentor here in Scotland. I'm just leaving the capital of Scotland. This is Edinburgh. Let me flip you around. Flipping you around, there we go. And I'm using my brand new, very fancy camera and microphone, so I hope that this video finds you well and that the audio and video is working well. I'd like to talk to you today about Ascension. What is it? Who gets to ascend? How do you ascend? Will your friends, family and loved ones and pets ascend with you, or what happens to them? Okay, and I'm going to try and answer as much as I can on our drive home, which is approximately 30 minutes drive home, according to Google Earth. So what is Ascension? Ascension is, according to Jon Binnie, Ascension is a journey of, through a lifetime or multiple lifetimes of raising your vibration. Your vibration can be mapped, so the frequency of you can be mapped to emotions. So you could also describe this in emotional terms. There is a whole spectrum of emotions. So for example, very low vibration emotions such as shame and fear are right down at the bottom, for example around 26 hertz. And then all the way up to the top of our third dimensional emotions are emotions such as gratitude, love, unconditional love, unity. These are much higher vibration. These are all the way up at the top. And what's cool about that is you can look up these frequency to emotion mapping charts. Often they're shown as a wee kind of triangle. As you study that a bit more, and you know they're all different. They all show loads of these maps. They all show like different results. You know, different frequencies, different emotions, or should I say, same emotion with different frequencies. So that's just the nature of our reality, right? We all get to feel into what these mean and you know, find a frequency to emotion map that feels right for you. Through our lives, it can be argued that we get to choose how we feel inside, what emotions dominate our time the most, whether they're happy, high vibration, joyful, unity, gratitude, or whether they're low vibration, sadness, you know, fear, anxiety, pain. And if only life were so simple, if you could just wake up in the morning and say to yourself, today I'm going to be happy. It takes a lot of work, right? And so on the Ascension journey, we have the opportunity to face our fears, face our shadows, you know, the things that we're avoiding in our lives, the baggage, you know, connections with others. We get to face all the things, the emotions, the people, the objects, the places, the jobs, all these things in our lives that don't serve our highest good. And we get to feel into higher and higher frequencies and vibrations by continually letting go of this baggage, letting go of these lower aspects. And isn't that awesome? I mean, it takes a lot of work, right? But it's absolutely possible. And as I know from leaving my corporate job in May 31st, 2024, after 26 years in software engineering and 8 years at Amazon as a senior manager, take a breath, that it was a huge fear for me to leave. And now here I am doing this as my job full-time. I'm a psychic spiritual mentor doing healings and clearings and all kinds of stuff for people around the world. Hope you enjoy my window wipers. Now, The concept of dimensions could be described as layers, such as the layers of an ogre, you know, like Shrek, and onions. And what's cool about that is these layers can describe frequency ranges. So the third dimension has a frequency range. We've already spoken about shame being at the bottom, and joy and love and gratitude and unity being towards the top. So that's awesome. We also get higher frequencies and higher levels of joy and happiness in higher dimensions. So the more joy you feel, the more happiness you feel, the more you rise up into higher vibrations and higher dimensions. Some of you have been asking, what is the face tracking isn't working. Some of you are asking, what is the fourth dimension? You know, I thought the fourth dimension was time. Could be a question. Well, time it exists in every dimension. Linear time is also an illusion. The fourth dimension, in my experience, is a dimension of, you can describe it as of energy and kind of as shadows as well. It still needs a bit of cleaning up. It includes, it very much includes the ability to exist in energetic only form. So for example, ghosts and cryptids, Sasquatch, the Loch Ness Monster, there's loads of them, right? Dogman, Mothman, I don't know, there's loads of these different, why are they men anyway? Dog person. So yeah, I feel that there's a whole wide range of beings, including our ghosts, and as our souls, our consciousness leave our human form, they can also exist in the fourth dimension. And then the fifth dimension, above that in frequency, above the fourth in frequency, is also energy, but it's energy that can take form. And I feel truly taking a human-like form, human body-like form, is more sixth-dimensional, crystalline, like a liquid, or it is a liquid crystal form. And the fifth dimension is, you can still take form, but it's more energetic. So you could describe each of these dimensions as having similarities, and they also have some overlap between them. Okay, taking a breath and drinking a little bit of juice. Okay, so imagine there's a block of apartments, and the block of apartments has floors, has a ground floor, first floor, second floor, third floor. The third floor is the third dimension, and the fourth floor is the fourth dimension. And guess what? The fifth? That's right, it's the fifth dimension. So that's cool. We have this universe of dimensions, and we have the layers: first, second, third, fourth, fifth dimensions. Now imagine that we're living in the third dimension right now, so we're living in the third floor, and everything is real to us in the third dimension, the third floor. We never leave the third floor during our lifetimes. We just, we don't really believe, many of us don't even believe there's a level 4, a fourth dimension. Many of us might have some sort of concept of it, but not really understand it. And yet, there's a little bit of kind of bleeding, overlapping between the third and fourth floor. For example, some of us on the third floor hear people walking around upstairs on the 4th floor. Like, oh, there's some disembodied footsteps. And to us, on the 3rd floor, it's like a ghost. You know, a ghost is wandering around upstairs. Are you there? Are you upstairs? Please keep the noise down. Whatever you decide, you can do. You can, you know, experience. You can share. Okay. And also, you can have experiences of hearing voices, so you can sometimes hear the noises upstairs, just like ghosts upstairs. Now you can argue that because of this separation, the layers, the separation between the boundaries and frequency boundaries of each floor, each dimension, that you have a kind of full universe in the 3rd dimension. It fully exists. It's real. It's a whole 3rd floor, right? And you can spend your entire existence in a lifetime just on level 3. Now, if you're feeling really, really happy, so imagine you're having some sort of party. Maybe it's a housewarming party, and you start to get really, really happy, and you start to float up a bit, you know, like a party balloon. Maybe you've been facing your fears, you've been doing your hard inner work, you've been, you know, kicking out of your 3rd floor apartment, all your rubbish and trash in your home, all the clutter. You've been stepping away from relationships that don't serve your highest good. You've been doing all kinds of things that help you feel happier, following your joy, following your childhood passions, and you're getting higher and higher in vibration. And as this happens, you begin to feel that you're floating up and touching the ceiling. Reminds me of, is it Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Or I forget which one it is, when they're laughing and to go higher and higher. It's just like that. The more time you spend laughing and enjoy in your life, the higher your vibrations are, on average, through that day. Exciting, huh? Okay, anyway, someone opens the lift, the elevator door, or the stairwell, and you start to rise up. You start to rise up in your frequency. And actually you start floating up through in the elevator, and you end up going up to level 4. Or you've made your way up through the stairway, and you've moved into the 4th dimension. Okay, this is where I'm going to start to answer some of your questions now that we're 13.5 minutes in. So to answer your questions, first of all, the 4th dimension experience can be very real, right? It's a whole new dimension to you. You've risen up from the 3rd to 4th. Suddenly you reminds me a bit like some sort of Marvel movie. Your superpowers become more physical, so your energetic superpowers become more physical, because really everything's energy. And I've had plenty of meditations and client sessions and dreams where I've been in the 4th dimension, and a lot of us are choosing to be in the 4th dimension during dream time, because this is how we are doing work to, missions to help clear up the 4th dimension. So that's really awesome. By the way, I'm loving this camera. It looks so cool. It looks much darker on the outside than it does on camera. On camera it looks great. So you're up in the 4th dimension, enjoying the 4th floor, and then you're thinking, oh, this is amazing. I've got all these superpowers up here. I can open up my heart and send rainbows of love. I can walk through walls, I can do all kinds of cool things. And then you remember your loved ones and your pets who are included in your loved ones. Like, oh, I wonder what happened to them. Well, since you're on the 4th floor, you can, since you're in the 4th dimension, you can go down and you can perceive what's going on down below you. So if you're in a higher vibration, you can perceive what's going on in lower vibrations. So you can look down. It feels a bit like lifting one of the floor tiles in the apartment building and looking down through the floor, looking down through the ceiling of the 3rd dimension. And you can see everything that's going on. You've got a good bird's eye view. So that's exciting. You could also actually go there. It's a bit harder for you, and you might need a superpower to help you. However, there are beings that do this, such as Sasquatch, where they can open up a portal and allow their 4th dimensional body to become, their energetic body to become physical in the 3rd dimension. And this is something they've learned how to do through their evolution, and not just on Earth. So that's awesome. And as I mentioned, other so-called cryptids are capable of doing this as well. If you ever wondered why it's hard to find them in the woods, it's because they can move in and out of portals. They can, through portals, they can move in and out of dimensions. So no wonder it's hard to find them. Another way of describing the 4th dimension can be the upside down in Stranger Things. It certainly used to look a lot more like that. Now it's much more friendly. Ooh, I just saw a cool flash in the light straight ahead. It's quite far away though. I don't think it'll pick up on camera. It was just to the right of Traprain Law, and the time is 8:54. Okay. So that's fun. You're checking out what's going on down below, and you can see your family members. In fact, if you happen to have a family member who is perhaps practicing meditation, or they're thinking of you, or they're quite high vibration, or maybe they're practicing their psychic abilities like me all the time, then they've got a good chance of being able to perceive you up in the 4th dimension. And if you've got a superpower of coming down into the 3rd dimension, which some people will, you'll be able to cross over between the two. Let's answer some of those harder questions. So what if your loved one doesn't want to ascend? They don't want to be happier. Maybe they're scared of going up in vibration. Maybe they're scared of leaving their loved ones, or the perception of leaving them, and they don't really know what will happen, so they're not in any rush to keep getting happier and happier. They'd rather be in their comfort zone of the 3rd dimension. There's no right or wrong. Every soul gets to choose. And for now, Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, exists across all these dimensions, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and a little bit of 6th. So we can also, to an extent, coexist. We're just at different frequencies. So you could say that one answer is what happens to your loved ones is, well, if they don't ascend, if they've not chosen to ascend, then they won't ascend. Because our emotions are a choice, whether we fully accept that or not. You also don't need to believe in ascension to ascend. It is a natural process, a natural phenomenon. And what you may experience is, as a loved one who has a family member ascending higher than them, so if your loved one in the 3rd dimension and you're not ready to ascend yet, or you've chosen never to ascend, then I do feel that, depending on your perceptions, your loved one may begin to fade from your dimension, from the 3rd dimension. You may see them coming and going a bit, and you may even experience, in an extreme case, their disappearance. that you can no longer perceive them. They've shifted up into a higher frequency, a higher joy, a higher happiness, and you just can't see them anymore. If you watch enough of my driving videos or walking videos, this is a very real thing for me. The happier I get, the less people seem to perceive me. Quite dangerously so when you're driving in a big white van, and a big 2.5, 3-ton van doesn't have the same braking distance as a car. So I have to be extra vigilant. It helps being psychic, right, when you're watching other cars, trying to predict what they're going to do, and the fact that they maybe don't see you. And I have experiences of this in other, when I worked at Amazon, for example, walked the hallways there, sometimes people wouldn't always see me until I said hi to them. So I feel that that's what it's like. You can be in a happier, higher vibration, and then when you catch someone's attention, a bit like a ghost, you start to take more form. And you know how some people crave, they're searching for, they're doing paranormal investigations. I'm avoiding the hunting word. They're doing paranormal investigations, and they're trying. The more they connect with beings, you need to be careful about who you choose to connect with. The more they connect with beings, the more they experience more phenomena. Knocking, tapping, voices, interactions with our technologies, and then they start to see more with their eye, with their third eye, and so on. The good news is our third eyes are exactly developed for that. Our third eyes are developed to be able to see interdimensionally, and this is one reason why it's helpful to during your ascension journey to open up your third eye, because you can see, like I can, into fourth dimension, and you will see ghosts and beings and shadows and all kinds. And it's really, really real, because it is real. Okay, we all get to ascend at our own time, at our own pace. We are to choose whether we ascend, and there's no rush, right? So I would never advise to try and tell someone to ascend, or to try and convince them that it's such a good idea to be at a higher vibration, because everyone's experience is different and everyone has free will, and it's important to respect that. I also feel that it's really powerful on your ascension journey to feel into these concepts, right? You might be resisting your own ascension because you're worried about losing the comfort zone of your loved ones. You might be in a codependent relationship to some extent, and rely on another person, and so very least subconsciously you might be saying to yourself, I don't want to ascend because I don't want to lose such and such. My personal take, I'm a husband and father of 2 children, and there's also Patch, our Papillon, a lovely little dog. My personal opinion is that I feel that if I ascend, then I'm setting myself free and I'm setting my family free. I do feel that they will always be provided for, and almost this feeling that there's an aspect of me that would always take care of them, no matter what. And it might be, even if in the worst case I was dead to them, like they might even witness the death of my body, for example, as I rose up into fourth dimension, I would be able to make sure that, financially they were secure. I would have an influence over their own manifestations. Where they were willing to continue to communicate with me, I would still have communication with them. I feel that most likely for me, I'd become a kind of more of a semi-transparent human to them, and then eventually they'd get used to me just being around in pure energy form, and that I wouldn't even have a kind of physical aspect to me. So I think that does feel really fascinating. What happens in my life, we'll just have to wait and see, right? But I am here for the Ascension, and I'm here for my family too, and I'm always balancing the two. For now, I do feel that it's important I'm in the third dimension along with you guys so that I can be of this world, of this planet, you know, of the density, as well as continuing to rise up through it. And I visited, I could do a whole other video in the fifth dimension. It's a beautiful place to visit. I take clients there in sessions. I do teach it in my fifth dimensional Ascension classes. Also my higher self foundational, intermediate and advanced training. I teach people how to do it themselves and then teach people how to do it for others. And these are really powerful, beautiful experiences. They are, the fifth dimension is full of bright colors, so vivid. These rainbow skies, you see energy flowing freely between beings, you see and feel the orchestra of life, where all beings are, you know, trees and all the plants and insects and birds and animals, the grass, everything's singing together and playing this beautiful orchestral music together in this really beautiful harmony, and we're part of that. We're part of nature, and all those superpowers you could ever dream of and more exist. So given what I've just said, that there are, you know, not just humans up in the fifth dimension, absolutely our pets get to decide as well. There's also the other good news about this timing of our ascension is that the veil is thinning between the third and fourth dimensions, at the very least. And so we get to be able to perceive, if you ever wonder why more people are experiencing ghosts and more UFOs, and it's because this shroud that exists between the two, and some of this is enforced by the old dark matrix, as it's called. Between those two layers of frequencies, it's becoming much easier for fourth dimensional beings to be perceived in the third dimension, and vice versa. We're becoming more transparent to each other, so that's really beautiful. And there's no soul left behind. So I've met clients, many clients actually, that help support those that are feeling a bit stuck and want to cross this rainbow bridge or elevator or staircase from third to fourth to fifth dimensions. And it's so beautiful because these souls that are up in fourth or fifth dimension have a superpower to be able to, and they're often working closely with Gaia to come back and help people who are in the third dimension, and explicitly those who have chosen to ascend, to be able to work their way up, back up to higher vibrations, help them, you know, work through the tasks they need to, the shadows, the fears. Some people also, you know, would benefit on their ascension journey from learning more about these concepts, almost, you know, feeling, if you're feeling a bit scared to ascend, but you just have no concept of ascension, it feels a bit like your soul, and you know, at very least your incarnation, your human, doesn't know where to go next. And so it's very much a guiding role, saying, hey, you just need to cross this bridge if you choose to access these higher dimensions. And by the way, they're amazing, but you get to choose. So I love that, no soul left behind. Let's give you a wee flip around. Hello. I loved it when face tracking was on. I'll need to get that consistently on. It's a lot of fun with the camera moving around. Yeah, and I love in this ascension journey that we all get to, like, don't just take my word for this, right? Feel into what's true for you. You know, do your own inner research. You know, feel into your heart. Ask in meditation. Ask your spirit guides. You can read up, you know, other people's books and internet. Read the internets. You can even ask an AI. Just know that Ascension is a very unique experience because it's a continued evolution of our awakenings, our awakening journeys, and everyone experiences differently. Whoa! What are all these lights? There's a big queue. Not used to seeing that here. You can't see them yet. They're just appearing in your vision. It's short though. It's only a little bit. Maybe it's because you guys need a little bit more video. Well, that guy's enthusiastic. Yeah, so we all get to choose what Ascension's like. We get to choose our perceptions of dimensions. We get to choose whether we ascend, when we ascend, how we ascend. I do feel that our souls know the basics of this as part of the blueprint of your incarnation. So if your soul has chosen to ascend in this lifetime, likely your soul knows about that it will happen, or at very least you'll have that choice, and that, you know, certain criteria need to be met, such as your vibration needs to be of a high enough frequency. Excuse me, no idea what that sounded like on the microphone. I've not heard any of it yet. And I feel that our souls have the opportunity to, you know, continue to work with us, our higher selves and our human self. And at every given moment, you know, even if there's been these, you know, decisions of choosing a lifetime which is supportive of Ascension, that's a really bumpy road here, so hopefully my camera will stay on, then you still get free will choice. Free will is so paramount in this journey. I can't emphasize it enough. Like, literally, I can't emphasize it enough. And some of you may also be wondering about the splitting of the Earth. And all I can say is, you know, splitting between third, fourth, and fifth dimensions. All I can say is that at the moment, Mother Gaia supports she supports the coexistence of these different vibrations, because the planet Earth itself is coexisting across third, fourth, and fifth dimensions. And this means you can have, you know, bubbles of different dimensions, and you can have a bubble around a person, or for instance or a home. You'd have a third dimensional home next to a fourth dimensional home, next to a fifth dimensional home, and so on, and in any order. And what would happen is, over time, you know, some of those homes, as the frequencies and Earth splits, you know, if you're in the fourth or fifth dimension, your third dimensional neighbor's home might become a bit more translucent and eventually kind of fade out for you, like it never existed there. Or you might experience the fifth dimensional aspect of it. So this is also true as well, that the whole, hi, it's John. Hi, it's John. The whole frequency ranges coexisting, then eventually splitting, you know, as are other concepts to feel into and explore. And I do feel that we all get to experience that split differently depending on where we are, whether in third, fourth, or fifth dimensions. And I also feel that we have the opportunity to just experience this life, you know, for all its glory, and not get too hung up about all this stuff. Just my advice is keep following your joy. Don't worry about your loved ones; they will be taken care of, as will you. Just continue to choose what feels right for you. Just choose your the things that bring you the most joy for as long as you can each day, without, of course, you can't bypass all your fear, shame, anxiety, pain. Like, you still need to face those, but as you do, as you do, you will continue to raise your vibration. It's great news, right? Well, I hope you enjoyed this first video on my new camera. I am just about home, and sending so much love to you all from Scotland. Thank you so much. And let me know in the comments if you have questions about the Ascension, and whether and how helpful you found this video. All right, take care, sending love.